Hi there, everyone. I'm Lauren Tarshis, editor of Storyworks and author of the I Survive series. And today I'm very excited to take you behind the scenes of my article, Our Beautiful Town Is Gone. It's about Paradise, California, a town of 28,000 people that was destroyed last November 8th in a massive wildfire. The wildfire, named the Camp Fire, was one of the largest in history and the deadliest to hit California in a century. 85 people lost their lives, mostly in the town of Paradise. My connection to this tragedy began with an email from Holly Fisher. Holly was living in the town with her children, Lucas and Sienna, and her husband, Josh, a firefighter. Josh actually battled the flames that destroyed Paradise. Holly wrote,
I wondered if you'd be interested in coming here to visit, to bring people together and offer to hear their stories. Any bit of light that we can salvage out of this horrific time would be amazing.
I've received emails like this over the years from people who've read my I Survive books or my articles. And I've learned that for some people, sharing a story of a difficult experience, knowing that people are listening, knowing that people care about them, can be a source of comfort and strength. And so about 6 months after the fire, I traveled from my house on the East Coast to Paradise, California. I was shocked by what I saw. A ruined ghost town. It's just unbelievable. You see the remains of houses that have just been completely torched. People literally had minutes to flee for their lives. We saw not one other person. All there was on street after street, mile after mile, were ruins.
Without further ado, Miss Lauren.
The next day, I visited schools and met kids, parents, and teachers who had experienced the terror of that day. They described seeing strange signs on the morning of November 8th, 2018.
And I noticed ash, a lot of ash. It was just raining from the sky at that point. It was starting to get a little bit darker.
And there's like this red, orangish sky.
The air was a little yellow. And we just thought it was just kind of early, and that was the clouds coloring the air a little bit, but it was probably smoke.
I noticed 7 or 8 massive vultures in a tree right above my chicken coop, and I thought that was odd. That was the first alert for me that this is just eerie, like something's off, it's different.
News soon spread that a fire had started in the nearby town of Polga, and at first few people were worried.
My first thought was, okay, Polga. I don't really know where that is, but it's not in Paradise, so I'm not too worried.
So we just said, okay, let's get ready for school, because we've been through fires in the area before. There was no sense yet that the fire was going to be what it was.
But in recent years, wildfires have been getting bigger, faster, and more dangerous. Josh, who was on duty early that morning on November 8th, quickly realized that this new fire could be a monster.
The conditions were very dry and extreme fire danger due to the lack of rain and a couple other factors. And then that day, or previous day, the wind had started blowing.
The strong winds carried chunks of burning trees for miles, starting dozens of new fires. As the flames spread faster and faster, panic grew.
Daddy's friend came over and told us we have to leave right now.
The smoke plume was getting bigger and bigger over Paradise. And by the time we got to our house, it was black as midnight. And I would say it was 8:30 in the morning.
Got on social media, starting to see photos and videos of fire around people, houses on fire. So that was really scary.
And I think we were just in shock. We really just didn't know what was happening.
The streets became clogged with cars as people desperately rushed to escape. 9-year-old Eleanor Wettig described the terror of those moments.
We were stuck in traffic. I was kind of scared the fire was going to come up and...
Firefighters like Josh worked courageously to fight the flames. But it quickly became clear that even an army wasn't going to be able to put out this fire.
The embers were coming down so heavy that every time one landed, there was a new fire starting all around us. It's overwhelming to be like, wow, this thing is so big that we're not going to be able to help everybody. So it kind of it shrinks you down a little bit.
But Josh and his fellow firefighters were able to help people, hundreds of them. They guided cars into a big parking lot and then fought the flames. Volunteers got out of their cars to help.
And they're like, hey, what can I do to help? And it was just awesome. Kind of gives you a little hope while things are kind of so dreary.
The fire raged for days, and by the time it was over, Paradise had mostly been burned to the ground. The town's schools, stores, restaurants, and playgrounds were destroyed. In the end, 90% of all of the buildings in Paradise went up in flames. I get deeply involved with all the stories that I write, but some stories keep a grip on my heart long after I finish writing them. I couldn't stop thinking about Paradise and the people I met there, and so over the summer, I decided to go back. My first visit to Paradise had left me shaken. I saw so much destruction and loss, nothing but ruins and silence. But on my second visit, I saw signs of hope. Thousands of lots had been cleared of wreckage, and more than 100 businesses had reopened. The air was filled with the rumble of trucks and the buzz of saws and the sounds of rebuilding. At a school set to reopen, I met people from around the country who had come to Paradise to help with the cleanup.
As a teacher in Washington State, I felt like education is my wheelhouse. How could I come help? And I knew they were going to reopen some of the schools. So I came up because it's so much work to set up a classroom.
I was happy to see that the Fishers and the Wettigs were doing well. After months of living in a small trailer, the Wettigs had just bought a beautiful house in Chico, about 15 minutes away from Paradise. The Fishers were also living in Chico, but they were making plans to move back into their own home in Paradise later this year. There are definitely challenges ahead for the people of Paradise. Perhaps the biggest is the town's water. The pipes were contaminated by toxic smoke from the fire. Many people, especially older people, have already decided they will not return. There's also the continuing fire risk. With the climate changing and more people living in wild areas, more dangerous fires are likely. But there are powerful lessons that we can all learn from the people of Paradise on how to remain hopeful, on how to move forward, even after something as devastating as a wildfire.
I think that just being negative is easy to do. I think that when you're down, it's really easy to just be in a dark hole and stay there. And so you have to find something to help you move forward. You have to find something positive.
That was really something that just meant so much to us, that people were caring and thinking of us, and that were worried about us, and that were rooting for us through this whole process. And we really felt that love and support. That's kind of one of the best things, I think, to come out of the fire. That community and that connection and just, taking care of your fellow man.
What makes me feel great is that all you guys, you came and you just came and started helping us, and it feels so touching to me.
Maybe it's Lucas who had the best piece of wisdom to share.
If I was gonna tell a kid when he or she's gonna go through a difficult time, I tell him, he or she, just to take a deep breath and stay calm.